It was dark, pitch black. There was no way we could see what was lurking behind us. My friend Sarah decided that we should take a camping trip to Pueblo, Colorado. I had been camping in the mountains outside of Pueblo about 5 years earlier, and I was totally enthralled with the beauty. It didn't take much to convince me to go back. So the first thing on our to-do list was to make sure all the tent parts were in the bag. After that, we gassed up the car and we bought groceries. The evening before we left, we packed everything from the tent to the toilet paper in our little Ford Pinto. We barely had enough room for our suitcases. Our plans were to leave Kentucky at 3 o'clock in the morning so that we could get to the campsite by dark. So we went to bed early that night. The sun was peeking over the horizon as we drove by St. Louis, Missouri. And it was high in the sky when we rode across the rolling plains of Kansas. And it was setting when we got to the state line of Colorado. After having driven all day, we were tired, so we pulled over and we stretched our legs. The mountain air was so invigorating as we walked across the grassy mountainside. And after exploring a closed-down coal mine, we walked over to a nearby stream. The water coming down from the mountaintop was so clear, I had to stoop down and cup my hand and bring some to my mouth. It was the best tasting water I ever had. We quickly filled our canteens. It was getting dark. We still had 3 hours to go. The narrow dirt road meandering up the mountainside led us to the campsite. It was dark, so we used the car lights to set up camp. After that, we got the sleeping bags, the lantern, and the heater. We left everything else for the morning. After settling in, we quickly both fell asleep, not waking up until the dawn. I had packed some coffee, and so I went to the car to get the coffee and everything else that we would need for breakfast. Sarah had gathered sticks and was starting a fire. I closed the hatchback and noticed that the mist was starting to back up a little bit, and I could see a little clearer now. So I took a moment just to look around me. I let the chill of the morning nip at my nose as I discovered a doe and her fawn grazing nearby. I stopped to watch. After they went into the fog, I continued to look to my left, and finally I looked behind me. I was not ready for what I saw. My mouth dropped. I was shocked. I was horrified. I was panic-stricken. Sarah, look, we have to get out of here. Her eyes bulged as they followed my finger up the bank. It wasn't a coyote. It wasn't a bear. And it wasn't a mountain lion. Just 20 feet away from our tent was a shed. And up just a short distance from that shed was a new 2-story house. We were camping in somebody's backyard. I threw the breakfast food back in the car. Sarah put out the campfire, and we quietly took down the tent. We threw it in. This was not the time for neatness. We got in the car and gingerly closed the car doors. we put it in neutral and coasted down the mountainside, barely making our getaway. Now today, I cannot tell you how to get to that camping spot in Pueblo, Colorado, but I can tell you this. It left a lasting impression on me, not just once, but twice.